theyeshiva.net.
So Rashi tied the Mishnah Erlar Ba'asar Boitkin as a chametz. On the word Boitkin, Rashi says, why do you do b'dikas chametz? Shelo yaver Allah v'bal yirah bal yimatzeh. Shelo yaver Allah v'bal yirah bal yimatzeh. This black book, that little. Yeah. Rabbi Krieger brought me this morning a Tosfos Harash. I'm sorry, a Tosfos Harashba, yeah. So I just looked how he phrases the question on Rashi, which Tosfos asks. The way he phrases it, I'll just say how he phrases it. Again, the Teichen is the same. He says if Rashi was right, then you don't have to do b'dika. You could do only bittul. As the Gemara says, that Minat Torah bittul is going to be sufficient, and bittul is enough. So if the reason was to be over on, but not to be over on, you didn't have to do b'dika. That's how he phrases the question. And even if you want to say, says the Tosfos Harash, that the Mishnah is talking with the Rabbanon. In other words, the Mishnah is written by the Chachamim. It's not written Minat Torah. It's not Moshe Rabbeinu. It's the Chachamim. That's what the Mishnah is. Torah Shabbat Peh, the Rabbanon. So you're going to tell me you're right. But the Raisa Taka, you could do bittul. But the Rabbanon said you have to do b'dika. As the Tosfos Harash, because untahid, but it's not for Bahira by Yimatzeh. Give me another reason for b'dika. It's not to be able by Rabbi Yimatzeh, right? Because you're doing bittul. So why are you talking about the Rabbanon? In other words, first question is, you could do bittul, what do you have to do b'dika? And you're already not over by Rabbi Yimatzeh. So you're going to tell me, I'm talking with the Rabbanon. With the Rabbanon, I have to do b'dika. So I know you have to do b'dika with the Rabbanon. I know bittul doesn't help. But now my question is, you have to do b'dika, but not for Bayir Rabbi Yimatzeh. Give me another reason, because Bayir Rabbi Yimatzeh you already took care of through bittul, and therefore, as Tosfos he continues and says, the reason is not for Bayir Rabbi Yimatzeh, but rather they were afraid that you're going to eat it, as explained. So,
you eat it, and you get it ready.
No, it's not Bayir Rabbi Yimatzeh. You're not over. You're good. You bottle it. You can still eat it. You went over by Rabbi Yimatzeh. It's like eating. If you go into a guy's house on Pesach, you eat chametz. You went over by Rabbi Yimatzeh. But you over on Achilas chametz. Verstehst? You're not over by Rabbi Yimatzeh. If I go into a Goyish pizza shop on Pesach, I'm not over by Rabbi Yimatzeh. It's not mine.
Well, you roll is what?
You're not allowed to have chametz in your property. You're not allowed to have your chametz in your property.
Both of them is for the property, not for...
You want to say the moment the guy gives me the pizza, so I'm koine, that's what you say. So that moment by Rabbi Yimatzeh. Surya no. You want to say you're koine that moment. Okay, fine.
He's thinking.
The Rambam discusses if you're koine chametz on Pesach. I'll call upon it. So that was Tosfos then. The way Tosfos phrases the question, Gar simple is, since you need bittul, midaraisa bittul is enough, why did the Chachamim need b'dika? Give you b'dika. A chiyuv of b'dika. Rashi said, L'avra by Rabbi Yimatzeh, you're not going to be over by Rabbi Yimatzeh. Because you're doing bittul anyway, aboidik, sarich, sheyavat. What was the summation of our discussions in the last shiur? The Deran teaches us and explains Rashi's hashkaf. That Rashi was talking min ha-Torah. And you need to do only b'dika min ha-Torah. You don't have to do bittul. I know it says aboidik tzarech sheyavat, but that's only midirabbanan. Min ha-Torah, you only have to do b'dika. Rashi is talking the way it's min ha-Torah. And you only have to do b'dika. And then, when you do b'dika, what is the b'dika saving you from? Bal yirah or bal yimatzeh. Later, the Chacham were talking misaka that you have to do bittul. That's true. Even if you do b'dika, you still have to do bittul. And there's a reason for it, because you may find bread in the middle of Pesach. Shema yimtza gluska yafa, even after b'dika, and we're afraid you're going to delay the burning of it. And if you mavatul it, it's good. But min ha-Torah, as the Ran explained, there's an alternative. You can go with the exclusive path of b'dika and beer, and then the b'dika has a gather of what? Of saving you from Bal Yirah or Bal Yimatzeh. And if you wouldn't have done the b'dika and beer, you would have been over on Bal Yirah, Bal Yimatzeh. And min ha-Torah, you don't have to do bittul. It's not like you anyway have to do bittul, so you're anyway not over on Bal Yirah. No. Later, that's true. That's a zakana, you anyway have to do bittul. But min ha-Torah, and for many generations, a person could prepare for Pesach completely without bittul, and it's an absolute alternative, and it's a great alternative because you can never go wrong with dika and beer. With bittul, as we explained, you can go wrong if you don't mean it. Dika and beer, the chametz is burnt, it's burnt fafalit. You can never go wrong with it. It's a good, secure, confident derech alternative, and b'meila you can go with it. Ein achanami, the Ran says, if you chose bittul instead of bdika, you wouldn't be able to buy your matzah. Ein achanami, that's another path. Either one works, and you're right. If you taka did bittul, then you don't need to do bdika min atayra to be able to buy your matzah. Even with the Rabbana, you don't have to do it l'cha'ira to matik be able to buy your matzah because you already did bittul. Rashi is talking about min hatayra, and therefore he says you're baidik not to be able to buy your matzah. The Ran adds. You can add. Rashi is talking even the Rabbanon, but before Rav. Rav is the one who instituted they have to be Mavatil. The Mishnah was written before Rav. Rav, as I told you, was a Talmud of Rabbi Yehuda Hanasi, the editor of the Mishnayos. Rav is the one who made it. The Gemara says clearly, Amar Rabbi Yehuda, Amar Rav. Did Rav hear it from before? It could be Rav heard it from before. Was it Nistakin at the time of Rav? From the Ran, it seems like it comes from Rav, that Kufa. So therefore, even the Rabbanon, who said at that time, when the Mishnah was written, there was no chiyuv necessarily of bittul if you're going to go with bdika and beer. And b'meila, even in the times of the Rabbanon, who wanted you should do bdika, who said you should do bdika, the bdika could be very well, the bdika will save you from bal yirah or bal yimotzi, even if they already were masakah, you need bdika, even if you do bittul. That's true. But there was still no necessity for bittul, and therefore bdika and beer is the exclusive path. According to this, the way you learn the Ran, Rashi is talking about one alternative. When there's it's not the only, it's not the whole picture. It's not the whole picture. Because min HaTorah, there's a whole different path, and you can also save yourself from Bayirah Matzah. Later the Rabbanon Rav would say you have to be Mavatul also, and that will save you from Bayirah Matzah. But he's talking one path, the way it's min HaTorah, and even the way it's in the Mishnah, before the Takana that you have to do it. To be it mantik even more, to make it a little more geshmak, we added the Mahalach of the Meiri, Maharam Chalva and Rabbeinu David, who also the Rishonim, who have a little bit of a different Mahalach. I say it's a little different, I mean it's different, but in this explanation, that it's not just Bdika and Beer is a path. Bdika and Beer is the path, not two equal alternatives. Tashbisu means Beer. That's the derech. When the Torah says, get rid of the chametz, what do I mean? Get rid of it. Destroy it from the world. What says destroy it from the world? Make it ayin. The efes. What says ayin ve'efes? I don't mean it should mamish be ayin. I can't do that. We don't have a koyach to make mamish ayin. What we could do is, it shouldn't be available for anybody to be anah. If it gets burnt, nobody's eating ashes for breakfast. Or charcoal for breakfast. Or if I crumb it, I put it into little crumbs, I put it in the sea, nobody's going to fetch it and get it. Even the fish don't see it as a great meal. But certainly no person is going to have hana from it. That's what tashbisu means. That's the yischayler the yisay. There is another eitzah. The other eitzah is called biyat mafker. Before the time of the tashbis. When is the mitzvah of tashbisu? Erev Pesach by Chatzos. The Gemara is going to explain. We're going to learn from the Psukim. Erev Pesach. Let's call it 12 o'clock p.m. Even though it changes every year. Well, let's call it 12 o'clock p.m. But I have another eitzah. The eitzah is Rosh Chodesh Shvat or Chav Beis Cheshvan. I can decide to clean the house from chametz. Give it to my shochem. Make it hefker. Give it to my neighbor. Eat it up. Fine. That's the gather of bittul. The gather of bittul is that before this man, you don't own it anymore. And that's another alternative, and the Torah allows it. And according to Rashi and others, that's part of tashbisu. Tashbisu means bittul. And what's the pshat bittul? Bittul means you don't own it. And if you don't own it, you can keep it in your house. Why? Because it's not yours. Now you don't have to do beer. You got. So there is an eitzah. If before Pesach you make the chametz not yours, fine. It's an eitzah. But when Rashi is teaching up the Mishnah, what's the mitzvah? The mitzvah is to do bdika and beer, not to be over on Bayirah and Bali Matzeh. So it's not just, it's one path. It's the path. It gives it a little bit more hamtok. Now, let's ask the obvious question. The Ran's answer is a good answer. These answers seem like good answers. Why would Tosfos have such a problem? Tosfos didn't know Abodah Tzarech Sheyalatl came later. What was bothering Tosfos? These are simple good answers. What do you want from Rashi? Tosfos says, why is there Bdika? Bdika doesn't make sense according to Rashi. Absolutely not. Why doesn't it make sense according to Rashi? There was a time when Jews didn't have to do bittul. You're right. In our generation, I wouldn't go and say Bdikas Chametz is to save me from Bayirah. But in the generation of the Mishnah, Taka in Rashi's generation, there had to be bittul. Rashi lived after Rav, as you might have figured out by now. But was willst du for Rashi? Rashi's teaching up a Mishnah. His responsibility is to explain the Mishnah. Avoid the church. So Tosfos is not. Since you need bittul anyway, and if you have bittul, you're good. You're not over. So why is there bdika? Like Rashi, I have no reason for bdika. So I'm going to give you another reason. Shema Yavelach. So the Ran said, "Was willst du for Rashi?" Rashi is talking before by the Tzarech Sheyavati. Minatayre, you don't have to do bittul. And even in the time of the Mishnah, you didn't have to do bittul. You could do bittul, but you don't have to. And b'meila, you need to do b'dikah to be able to buy Rabbi Yamasa. One possible answer to this, which I saw in Piskei Dinim of the Tzemach Tzedek on Psachim, he says a fascinating svara, and that is, there is one interesting shitta, although most poskim argue with this, but this is the shitta of the Tur and the Rosh. Now some say that it's not even their shitta, but the Pri Chadash and the Eilas Tamid and other Acharonim say that this is their shitta because that's the mashmos. Some argue, I'm just saying some even argue about that, but certainly when you read the Tur in Hilchos Pesach, he says as follows: when after you do Bdikas Chametz, you have to do Bittul. The Tur is Rabbeinu Yaakov Baal HaTurim. He's called Baal HaTurim, the one who wrote Baal HaTurim on Chumash. He's called Baal HaTurim because he's the one who wrote Tur, which is the first division of Halach, and the four sections are Echaim, Yeredev, and Ezra Mishpat, was written by Rabbeinu Yaakov Baal HaTurim, and his son was the Rosh. I'm sorry, the other way around. Excuse me. The Rosh was Rabbeinu Asher, and his son was Rabbeinu Yaakov Baal HaTurim, who wrote the Tur. The shitta of the Rosh and the Tur is an interesting shitta, the father and the son. The Tur writes in Hilchos Pesach, Haboidik, if you're boidik, you have to be mavatal. Like we learned, after B'dikas Chametz, you have to do bittul, which is what we all do after B'dikas Chametz. We do a second bittul in the morning, because the bittul at night is only for the chametz that we didn't find during B'dika, right? Because the chametz that we found during B'dika, we're not going to be mavatal at night, because then we're lying to ourselves, because tomorrow morning we're eating the Cheerios, right? We're eating the bagel, we're eating the bread, not the 10 pieces usually, but the other bagel. So don't say labatal, I have a hefke after that, I don't care, I don't need it. It's not true, you do like it, you do want it, you have a relationship with it. Nikru Shmoya love.
But you want to be you want to be Yotze the Sreita.
And you want to be Yotze burning chametz on your chametz, exactly. So we only do bittul on the chametz that I may have missed in my house, or in my garage, or in my office, or in my other house, whatever, right? So tomorrow, the next day, we do a second bittul, and we say the chazise or the lo chazise. The viarte or the lo viarte, everything. In other words, what happens if the bagel I found, of B'dikas Chametz, it disappeared somewhere after breakfast, whatever, and it's there, I do bittul on everything. Fine. So we do two bittles. We'll see in Zman HaShas they only did one bittul at night. Later they added a second bittul. We'll learn about that later. Why did the Chachamim say this you need to do? You're doing B'dika and Biyah. Wonderful, you're getting rid of all the Chametz. Pshat is, we learned, Shema Yimtzak Luska Yaf. The Gemara says, you may find a nice piece of bread in the middle of Pesach. Yeah? So the way most poskim and Mefarshim learn is, what's the problem? The problem is Mikana Lahaba. Meaning you're good, you find it, nothing wrong. You did a good b'dika, you found it, fine. As we said from the Ran, Samcha Torah al hachazokas. You did a good job. The problem is Mikana Lahaba. You may delay the biur 10 minutes, an hour, and that hour you're going to be over on Bayirah and Mayimatzeh. Why? Because there's chametz in your house. If you did not do bittul. If you did bittul, you won't be over on Bayirah and Mayimatzeh because you found a nice piece of chametz, but it wasn't yours, it was hefker. It's fine. You're not over on Bayirah. You still have to be at Mavaya, but if you delay it, it's not a geval. You're not over on the Isam and Atayr. That's the reason. When the Tur says this halacha, the Tur says, the Lashon HaTur is, quote it for you. It's a very interesting Lashon Atur. Siman Taf Lamed Dalet. Acher abdika miyad balayla yivatlanu. Right away be mevatel. The hashta. Afilu im nishar. Bebayis chametz. Shaloi matzah. Einoi over alav. That way, even if there's chametz you didn't find, you won't be over. To have a hefker, v'lavdilahu. V'lavdilahu, it's not his. What do you see from the Mashmal Sator? If you don't do bittul, then the chametz you didn't find, you're over on by Rabbi Matzah. It's your chametz, and you have it in the house. In other words, haboidik tzorich sheyevatel is minat Torah. Rav wasn't saying a chiddush of Rabbanon. He was telling you minat Torah. Haboidik tzorich sheyevatel. There's no two paths, like the Ran said. There's one path and one path only.
The Mishnah speaks of boitkin as it includes bittul. The Mishnah speaks of boitkin.
The Mela, when you need bittul, it's minat Torah you need bittul. You could do b'dika yoyim v'layla. I don't care if you sit a whole night on your hands and knees. You boidik loyr anei b'churim v'b'zdakim. You have to do b'dikas chametz. The problem is, we all know that you could miss a piece of chametz, and if you missed a piece of chametz, and Pesach comes, you missed Tashbisu, and you were over on Bayirah and Bayimotzei for 7 days of Pesach min HaTorah mamish. The Mela time is the tour that you have to do bittul min HaTorah. Why do you do bittul min HaTorah? Because only that will eliminate the Bayirah Bayimotzei. Why? Because even if you find it, and even if it's there, let's put it this way, even if it's there, not if you find it, you're over and Bayirah, you're not over because it wasn't yours, it was after. You still have to be Mavayir it again. With the Rabbana, you have to get rid of it. But there's no Issim in HaTorah. So when it says Shema Yimtzak Luska Yafa, my problem is not after I find it. The problem is Shema Yimtzak Luska Yafa. Maybe you'll find it and you'll discover that you were over by Rabbi Yamatzin and there's nothing for you to do now because it was there. Means in HaTorah. Others, most poskim completely argue.
But you need both. You need both.
I'm being illustrate. How does it work? The only path is bittul.
No, not the only path is bittul.
You need both.
Well, you could do only bittul and then you're good. I mean, in HaTorah you could do only bittul, that's good. But haboidik, if you're going to be boidik, tzarech sheyavat.
In other words,
there's a mile of bittul over b'dikah. With the Rabbanon, of course, you need both. We're talking about Torah. You can't do b'dikah without bittul. Unlike the Ran. The Ran explained, and this is lahalacha in most poskim, that if you did a kosher b'dikah's chametz, after that you consider it an onus. And oines rachmana patre. I just chametz in my house. It's not my fault. It's onus. What do you mean it's my fault? If I did b'dikah's chametz kahalacha, I'm not a malach. I'm not perfect. That's the shittas of Rav HaPoskim. It's called an onus. Whereas he said some chater lachazakas, even though people make mistakes, people are not perfect. As long as you did b'dikas chametz, we're talking about. We're not talking about you say I'm not interested in doing b'dikas chametz, then you're not an onus. And of course you're over. The Gemara Shemi Yimtzim was Lashon for Turis Acher Abdika the Hashta Afilu im Nisha B'Bayis Chametz Shaloi Matzah Einoi over the love. In andere Wetter, you would be over the other way around. If you say, the Pri Chodesh halt azoi und the Eulas Shabbos, I said also, Eulas Shabbos halt azoi. That later tour, it's a din min HaTorah.
So if he's the opposite from Rashi, Rashi's B'dika is if you do B'dika, you're not
If you say, the Tzemach Tzedek Tain is that it's possible that Tosfos holds like this. If Tosfos holds like this, then it's a good kasha. Haboidik tzarech sheyevatel tells me Rashi's talking about Torah. Rashi's talking about before the takana. If you hold it chametz she'ena yedua, the chametz that you don't know about, you're over. Of course, you have to do bittul. And if you're doing bittul, then there's no bayirah. Rashi can't write what he writes. The whole answer of the Ran is eliminated completely because then. You can't say there's a path of b'dikah. No, you're doing bittul. And once you're doing bittul, midaraisa bittul ba'alma, sagi. So you could tell me the chachamim u'mechayiv b'dikah. Gesundheit. I see that. It says a Mishnah. But give me a different reason. The reason is Shema Yavelachla. You're right. It's not Bayir Rabbi Yamatzeh. Bittul is wonderful. I'm just afraid if you leave the chametz in the house, even if it's hefker, Atkan.
What you should do?
Maybe Shema Yimotze.
Even give them fine. Don't have to do a fine.
Why did it say Shema Yimtze? Who cares if he finds or not?
It's a zuchobes. That's
Yes, everything's on point. That's the point.
You're right. You could
Okay.
pronounce it Yimotze. So it's nothing there.
Shema Yimotze.
He's
Shema
saying-
Yimotze. But he says, who cares if it's get rough? Oh, you mean Shema Yimotze? So if it's
Potentially.
Siddur Shema Motzi. Shema Motzi.
Stop getting addicted to it.
Yeah.
I have a question. If this is true, that when I tell you about it, maybe Rashi was reading the Mishnah. All of us about cores bittul also. So his answer goes in both. If I bought it to Shivat,
Mishnah has to say. The Mishnah. I open up a Masechta Pesachim. Ich weiß gar nicht. Yeah, you open up a Mishnah. You don't say a word with bittul.
you're telling me
The Mishnah is going to be mentioning bittul later. It's going to, bittul is not the bittul is a real concept.
That I bought it to Shivat is that Medaraisa, the Bidikalan doesn't help. So I can say Rashi read the Mishnah of Gudos, but Kim and bittul is an automatic.
But once you have bittul,
Bidikalan helps me.
but boitkin, you're boidik to take away the bayirah. You're not boidik to take away. The bittul alone takes it away, and you have to do bittul.
This Rishonim and Boitkim already includes bittul because Bidika without bittul is nothing.
What's bit without?
It's not nothing. It's everything.
But if you tell
If
me
by
that
mistake,
Midaraisa,
tzarich she'yavatel. No, let's put it this way. When I say tzarich she'yavatel, I don't mean mamash tzarich she'yavatel. You should be mevatel in case there's a piece of bread. In other words, if I do a bdika, for 3 months, and I bring in the FBI and the CIA and the nuclear inspectors in Iran, and I get rid of, I nuke the chametz, you don't have to do bittul. The problem is, Shema Yimtze L'Siyov, that's the one. But mainly you should do it Minat Torah, because let's put it this way, it's a Sveika Doiraisa. It's a Sveika Doiraisa, that's what it is. It's a Suffolk in Torah.
Feed him on the
Basically, what you said yesterday could go even with Rashi. Even with the
Amen.
even with the Torah. Because if bittul not a real bittul.
Okay. Let's go now to the next step. Open up a Mishnayos, Masechta Pesachim. Oylar Ba'asa, the last line on the page, it says Yochanan Boyas, the first so Mishnah. Oylar Ba'asa, turn around the page, Boitkim Asachametz, La'oyer Haner. The major mefarish of Mishnayos is Rabbeinu Evadim and Bartanura. Bartanura wine comes from the city Bartanura in Italy. That's the city where Rabbeinu Evadim was born and lived until he made Aliyah to Eretz Yisrael. He became the chief Rav of Yerushalayim, where he passed away and he's buried on Har HaZeisim. Rabbeinu Evadim and Bartanura is known as the Rav, because it's acronym Rabbeinu Evadim and Bartanura. Rav as Reish Ayin Vez, that's how he's called. He's buried in Har HaZeisim, Yerushalayim. He lived in the 1400s, Italy and then Eretz Yisrael. He was the main mefarish of Mishnayos. Let's look at the Bartanura. He ignores all the Rishonim and he says his pshat in the Mishnah. Take a look. Oylar Ba'asar, Leil Shal Macharasa Yi Yudalit. Koyri Atana L'Layla Orgadech Shekoyrim La'or Saginar, Le'iver Saginar, V'lishna Mal Yanaka. We'll see about this in Gemara. Basically, why is it called Oir? We call a blind person Saginar. What does Saginar means? It's full of light, full of lichtigkeit. Okay, the world is dark. But that's what we say. Oir, we mean night, and we're calling it Oir, and he's using a nice lashon. He summarizes here. Right. Boitkin gedenks. Boitkin as a chametz. Hey, is the mefarshi time of the bdika? There are those who explain the reason, and at this point, hopefully you know who he's referring to. Yeah. Kedei shelo yaver b'bayira b'yimotze yini chametz b'beisei b'pesach. Very balabatish. The Bartanura makes it. He really quotes names. He says, if you have chametz, you're going to be over on Bayira, very balabatish, no one would think it's a problem. Frag de Bartanura, ba'af al gav de bebitl ba'al masagi. B'meila, you're not going to be over on Bayira. And he doesn't even add the diuk of Taisus, and you anyway have to do bitl. He doesn't even say, you anyway have to do bitl. And why doesn't he add what Tosfos adds? You say, yeah, bittul bam. I didn't do bittul. Let's understand. There's a problem in all the first biurim, and that is something is missing. If you chose the path of bdika, so it's not a real chiyuv. Is not a glatt statement. If you chose the path of bdika, which, as the Ran says, is not better than the path of bittul. Fakir, much more complicated, much harder. It has its milas. If you chose one path, then the glattkeit of Rashi is missing. The Mishnah says you have to be boidik. So Rashi, why? Not to be everybody Rabbi Yimotze. So we say, wait. Not really. Really, you had a much simpler path, and if you chose this path, then Rashi is going to work. You understand the doichik in this? So the Ran, the Baltanura, doesn't even add the question. Let's say you don't have to do bittul. Let's say there's a path of bittul, there's a path of dikka, like it was till the Chacham. In the Midbar, in Eretz Yisrael, I told you, 1,500 years from Moshe Rabbeinu, how they do it? One of the two paths. So the Mishnah says you have to be by the Chomet Rabbi Yimatzeh. It doesn't sound from Rashi that it's an exclusive situation if you chose not to do bittul. That's the problem of the Bartanura and the problem of the first biurim. So he says as follows: Chayshinon, we are afraid. Shema yimtze gluska yafiyafiyah. You're going to find a nice gluska in the middle of Pesach. V'yimalech al bituloi. You're going to regret your bittul. It's such a nice piece of chametz. Moiredik. V'yachshav aleha la'achla. Doesn't say you're going to eat it. V'yachshav aleha la'achla. You can have a machshava. This would be very nice for breakfast. Das would given sehr schön for finishing Kaddish, for Yortzeit, for Suda, for Bris, for Bar Mitzvah. You know what? I'm making a simcha right after Pesach. I like what I see. This bottle of liquor, this is ganz geschmack. V'yachshav aleha la'achla. V'yaver elav by Rabbi Yimatzeh. Even if he made bittul. Even if he made bittul, will be over by Rabbi Yimatzeh. Hilchach boitkim asachametz. Why? It's not here. You're not going to find it. It's not here. The is the Amri time of the B'dika. Zeir Shemayim Tzachametz V'Beis V'Pesach V'Yechlenu. Kivan Shein Ragali is Badal Amenu Kol Shayim Ma'asashan. Another reason. Tosfos is reason. We know now who are the two reasons. The Bartanura, as I said, writes for very simple. He doesn't like to bring many names. He just likes to bring it simple and brief. Bartanura here is Machadash Anu thing, and that's how we type his Rashi. Why do you have to do B'dikas Chametz by Rabbi Yimatzeh? How you could do bittul? How you could do bittul? And we know later you have to do bittul, but he doesn't even add that. The answer is, Rashi says, that's not good. I know you could do bittul. You still have to do b'dik. Why? Shema yimtze gluska yafa, and it has to be yafa. There's shtickle garbage in our interested. V'yachshav aleha la'achla, and what's going to happen? That moment, everybody, what do you mean? It became hefker. It's not yours. You had a thought. I really like this piece. Maybe I'll keep it for after Pesach. He doesn't say you're going to eat it. V'yachshav aleha la'achla, and you're over by Rabbi Yimatzeh. In other words, you undid your bittul. All machshava. You undid your bittul. That's what the Bartanura says. And what happened? You're over by Rabbi. Is it for sure it's going to happen? No, may not happen. But that's the problem of bittul. The problem of bittul is, and remember, in the original bittul min HaTorah, all the chametz stays in your house. So there's a lot of nice chametz in your house. So this is not a pesach shash like the other shash we spoke about. That after b'dika you're going to find the gluska yafa. After bittul to find the gluska yafa is going to always happen. Because the bittul you left your chametz there. So you're going to find a nice piece of Pesach. And what's going to happen? You're going to say, wow, ganz geschmack. And right then you're over by Rabbi Yimatzeh. The only answer for that is b'dika and biur. That's what Rashi and Rabbi Yimatzeh. Huh?
No, it's not in your house.
Good Shaila. You want to know the same should be with Goyish Shechaz. Okay. Take a look in Tosfos Yom Tov. Take a look at Tosfos Yom Tov. Rabbeinu Yom Tov Litman Alevi Heller. Tosfos Yom Tov on the right side, third line from the bottom. He's quoting the Bartanura. Umasha Kosav Shema Yimtza V'yimolech al Bituloi. V'yimolech al Bituloi. Right? He's quoting the Bartanura. Did we say the words V'yimolech al Bituloi? I don't remember.
Yes.
He will retract his bittul. V'yechshav alach. Kaloimar. The kemoi shebittul ba'alma. Dahainu believe. Sheyachshav beliboy kilu afor. Sagi bekach. Afal pishaloi hotzi b'svos of klum. Hachanami. The machshava ba'alma choyzim mebituloi. V'zoiche ba. The machshava mevateles machshava. Ooh, the Tosfos Yom Tov is now saying the heart. Machshava, what did I do? He says, well, it's the same thing. How did it become hefker? The machshava. Like we explained, it unexplained. What's bittul? Bittul is, I'm not interested. It's a piece of garbage, junk. Leave me alone. It's off for ein b'tzorich klal. Ich hab nish mit them. For me, this is valueless, insignificant. I have no interest whatsoever. The Rambam said, the Shulchan Aruch Rav explained that you don't own chametz on Pesach. Just register to your name, so to speak. Right? The car, somebody registered on your name. They didn't want to take accountability. When the insurance company calls and says you have a deductible of $25,000, you say, sorry. I never decided to be registered to my name. If I would own the car, it would be much harder. I don't own it. Somebody registered it to my name. I'm not interested. Boom. The whole thing was disinterest. Suddenly, in the middle of Pesach, I'm interested. Yet, I'm interested. I don't think it's aimed by Tzarech Klav. Says the Bartanura, your bittul was undone. In the middle of Pesach, it was undone. And you're over on by your Rabbi Yimatzeh. B'meila, Rashi is talking. I know you could do bittul. Even if you tell me you have to do bittul, you could do bittul. Bittul is all good. The Chachamim came and said, I'm afraid of bittul. We're afraid of bittul. We're not saying Minat Torah, but we're all of this Mishnah. We're afraid of it, which means, according to Bartanura, the same svara that Abaydik Tzarech Sheyevatul is Hamavatul Tzarech Livdik. As though you learn Abaydik Tzarech Sheyevatul, the Gemara says, Kli Shema Yom Tzegluska Yafa, and you're going to delay the burning, and therefore you're going to be over. The Bartanura says that's the same reason why Hamavatul Tzarech Livdik. Same reason. The same reason, like Rashi, Hamavatul Tzarech Livdik, the same reason. Shema Yom Tzegluska Yafa, and here it's much more likely. Because there's chametz in your house, because you only did bittul. And what's going to happen? Machshava mevateles machshava. The machshava, only a little machshava, and that is, it would be geschmack to have this for the bar mitzvah suda, Isru Chag Pesach, or Lag Ba'omer, or Noch Shavuos, or Afilah mit Muhammad. That's the Bartanura. Ad kedei kach. If this is the case, then it would mean that you don't need the answer of the Ran, that there's a mahalach called B'dikah, a mahalach called Bittul, and Rashi is limiting the Mishnah. No, there's no mahalach. Any mahalach you choose. You want to do B'dikah and be your by Rabbi Yimatzeh. You want to do Bittul, you still have to do B'dikah by Rabbi Yimatzeh. Let's now go one more step. This is what I said yesterday. I see that it's from the Pnei Yeshua. Pnei Yeshua says, another word, again a similar mahalach, not two strands. Let's say you do Bittul. But we learned that bittul has to be belev shalom. The Bartanura is assuming it was belev shalom. And later you're going to regret. But what if it wasn't belev shalom? The Chachamim were afraid it wasn't belev shalom. We explained the whole reason why. The Ran said, why do you need b'dikah? Not only bittul. The Ran gave two reasons. Tosfos said Shema Yavel Achla. The Ran says why? Because maybe the bittul wasn't belev shalom. The Bartanura gives his own reason. What's his own reason? The bittul was good, but you're going to undo the bittul. A third reason. Well, let's go with the Ran's reasons. The bittul wasn't belev shalom. The Chachamim were afraid it's not going to be sincere. You have a beautiful bottle of vodka that's worth $3,000 or $600. You're not going to be sincere. If you weren't sincere, you were over by your Rabbi Yimatzeh. But maybe the can't be. You burn the mashka, throw it out. The fire of Azar LaRuach. Good. Gezukte, Zakte Pnei Yeshua. I'm not sure you're going to be over, but I'm afraid. The Chachamim are afraid because the bittul. According to this, our question on the Ram's answer and the other answers are eliminated. Why? It's not. Rashi's talking about one path. If you do b'dikah, you don't do bittul. Even if you do bittul, the Pnei Yeshua says even if you do bittul, The Chachamim were afraid. It's not a good bittul. The Bartanura says, even if it was a good bittul, I'm still afraid. You're going to undo the bittul in the middle of Pesach. You take a good bittul. It's before Pesach. You're busy. You're serious. But Chalamoy, it's Chapzach. It's a nice geschmack. You have a nice Jew. It's Yom Kippur in the afternoon, and you see a big, nice. Everybody knows. You see they're preparing. Junior's preparing for Mitzvah Yom Kippur. It's a nice yoich, yeah. Unless your mamish, Yitzchak Baditcher once said he doesn't know why there has to say in Chumash that you're not allowed to eat on Yom Kippur, and he doesn't know why the Nevi'im have to be Mesak in the Tisha B'Av you're not allowed to eat. He says Tisha B'Av ver kenes essen, when Yom Kippur ver vilas essen. Which normal person could eat on Tisha B'Av? And which normal person wants to eat on Yom Kippur? Who wants to eat on Yom Kippur? In the Yichud room, under the chuppah, you say, give me a falafel. You ever saw even a guy, a peta adam, a behema gasa, under the chuppah, halter zechayim for 5 minutes, 7 minutes, in the Yichud room, falafel with mustard and sauerkraut and pastrami and some sushi. Yom Kippur, very assassin, who needs that? Fine, the Mitzvah Baditcher. But other people that are not the Mitzvah Baditcher, it could be Yom Kippur, and you see a night, you say, would it be bad now to take a hafsaka? Yeah. So Yom Kippur, it's not a problem. You didn't eat. But Pesach is the Chaltz Machshava. It's the Chaltz Belev. Machshava mevatalas Machshava.
Even in Pesach.
Azay tiny, even in Pesach. In andere Welt. How do you have to touch this? Oh, that's the difference. If it's Goyish Chametz, I can be kind of your Chametz today by saying, hey, I like it. Why? Because Goyish Chametz head is taka his. How can I be kind of from a Goy Chametz through my machshava that I like? But my Chametz, same thing, I'm not kind of. But my Chametz, we said, how does bittul work? How does bittul work? Did not explain, and the Shulchan Aruch of the Alter Rebbe, the Balatanya explained. How does bittul work? L'chayre, you need a dinim of hefker, right? How can you do it belev? What was the answer? The answer is you don't have to be mafker chametz. The Rebbeinu Shalom was mafker the chametz. All it is that the Torah holds you liable in the lashon of Shulchan Aruch Harav shehei nikra shmoyel of you're connected to it. When you in your heart mentally or emotionally disengage from it, you will mafkia that last shaychus. Time is the Bartanura. That you can take back in the middle of Pesach. You say, I am interested. Nikra shmoy. That's the word. You don't have to be koine and dinei kinyan because it's not yours, bichlal. It's hefker. Even if you try to be koine, it's an inyan of it's also bachila bahano. Since the whole yisoid of bittul is machshava, so the Bartanura tain is machshava, the batalas machshava, which is why we're afraid that the bittul shouldn't be belev shal. In kach, what? You're over lemafreya. No, he's not over.
Said the beginning was not really.
No, why? You have a change of heart.
So if
Sometimes you're not hungry and the food doesn't mean anything to you. Then you get hungry and the food means to you. It's the middle of Pesach. He's not an AA and he gets thirsty. He gets thirsty.
We have a problem because we have in the Machshava, you talk about Machshava. You have a bad thought.
Ein achanami, you're right. Machshava is Machshava Taiva, you're not with Sarah Flamais. You're right. You're right, but his chiddush here is that bittul of chametz is an exception because the whole thing was a machshava. The disengagement was a machshava. The re-engagement is a machshava.
Same way
It's the master.
If you're master,
It's not a ma'isa. It's not a ma'isa.
By them, this machshuv is considered.
And it can happen even in the middle of Pesach. So that's the first part I said, that it's not belev shalom. Was ist die Purpose?
That's needed.
Ah, okay. Fine. You're saying that the Bartanura is speaking only before Pesach. Pesach has a 11:30. Oh, you walk and you say, you know what? This bittul, it's not for me. Zolzain. I think also for sure. Also, I'm not sure on that, but I don't know if he means only that. If this is true, we have clear why Tosfos and Rashi argue. Like this new mahalach that we're learning in Rashi, that even if you did bittul, You still have to do b'dikul avayir by Motzei. I'm just going to show you one line to be able to clarify it. If you have a Gemara in Pesachim,
It's possible that there's also a difference between here and machshava. Here is the thought comes in, but it doesn't mean that I act on it.
that's true. There's here the machshava, yeah. A thought comes in, but it's not real.
So a thought can come in, I see
That
it.
Bartanura is not talking about it. Bartanura is v'yachshav alel ochla. There's a big difference in life. Everyone has thoughts, yeah? You can have thought to kill out a family. You can have thoughts to burn down buildings. You can have thoughts to do something to the shviger, Yehorig Val Yaver, v'chuli v'chuli. Right? Hirhurim. We're complicated people. A lot of ugly stuff go through the nohar of life, right? But then there's yachshav alel ochla. It's already a machshava where you entertain it. You don't do it. You understand? The Bartanura is not saying everyone is the Marathal Chametz always. Yeah? It could be middle of Pesach. The person needs his whole Pesach. I don't know what I'm doing anyway. Fine, let's get trach. You understand? When you have wissen, was zu nehmen Erens, was zu nicht nehmen Erens. If you take a look in Masechta Pesachim, I'm just going to read one line to you. Dav Dalet Amid Beis. Dav Dalet Amid Beis in Pesachim. The second Tosfos on the right side, the Daraisa Bebittel Ba'al Masagi. Okay? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 lines from the bottom of Tosfos. V'oimeri, the Medaraisa Bebittel Ba'al Masagi, mitam the Ma'achar Shebitloi have a hefker v'yotzim mirishusoi umutter. You know why bittel is good? Because when you mevatel chametz, it left your domain, it's hefker. Midekamrinon atoroya shalachedim v'shal gavoya. You're allowed to see in your house chametz from somebody else and from hektish. The Gemara says in the Dharm that hefker b'fnei shloisha. Hefker has to be in front of 3 people. Nobody does bittul chametz in front of 3 people. Rabbi say, how would the Ran answer this question of Tosfos?
It's always hefker.
It's not hefker. Our bittul is not hefker. The Ran asked another good 3 questions. You're not going to do hefker b'machshava, right? The Ran said when you call something offer, it's not hefker. The Ran said according to the B'yosi, hefker has to reach the other person's domain. And what was the Ran's answer? This is not hefker. It's not a classic case of hefker. It wasn't yours. The Torah took it away from you. Ein b'rishusai. The Rebbeinu Shalom was mafkir. All you have to do is be maskir. Tosfos doesn't give that answer. Tosfos says midiraisa ein sarach. B'fnei shloish is a din d'rabbanon. Min ha-Torah hefker. I don't need anybody there. Since bittul is min ha-Torah, so the Rabbanan didn't make their gzeira by chametz. They allowed you to do bittul without midiraisa and bittul ba'al masagi. Because min ha-Torah you don't need 3. What do we see from this Tosfos? From the Ri? This is the Ri, the same Ri. How does he touch hefker? Hefker is real hefker. Bittul chametz is real hefker. But all your questions, you brought in the Rabbanon problems. Rabbi Yossi is the Rabbanon. All your problems of the Ran and this problem, don't bring in the Rabbanon. I know the Rabbanon made limitations on hefker. We're talking midaraisa bittul ba'al masagi. Midaraisa, a simple hefker like bittul chametz is also a good hefker. If this is the case, Rashi doesn't learn bittul from hefker. Rashi learns bittul from the word tashbisu. It's a concept called bittul. If Rashi would hold bittul as a regular hefker, you wouldn't need a pasuk tashbisu. It says lo yirah lecha already. Rashi holds bittul as a unique thing. The Ran says that Rashi also holds it's matam hefker, but it's still not like Tosfos. What's the difference between bittul like Tosfos that it's a classic hefker, and bittul like Rashi that it's a unique din in chametz, and that's why you need a special pasuk tashbisu? You can't just learn it from lo yirah lecha that it's not yours, or you need a special pasuk tashbisu because it's a unique type of hefker. What's the difference? The difference is a pashat azach. If you need to be genuine, that's the whole difference. Let me ask you a shayla. I say this phone is hefker. Bifnei shloisha, harei a hefker. I'm not doing it b'lev shalom. I don't like you. I don't like you. But I have to be it mafker for whatever reason to you. I have to give you. I don't like it. So I say this is hefker. You can take it. It's not b'lev shalom. Ich will nicht. I wish I didn't have to do it. I'm not sincere. I'm not genuine. I knew what I did, but there was completely no heart. Is it hefker? Of course it's hefker. The ganze Weltgate does it. You sign off your house. You sell your house. You wanted to sell your house. You're forced to sell your house. You sign off on the deed. You want to do it? You get an interest loan from a bank, you have to sign. You want to do it? Of course you don't want to do it. You did it. You weren't forced. You were conscious. You were sober. You weren't meshuggah. There's no insanity plea. You did it. I didn't care. What? There's no din of leiv shalom. There's a din that you have to do it halachically. Leiv shalom. So what do you mean the Chachamim are afraid that if you do only bittul, it's not good? The Ran says because you didn't mean it. I don't care if you meant it. You put on tefillin, you makayim tefillin. A yid eats matzah on Pesach. He knows that Pesach he eats matzah. He wasn't interested. He was tired. He was exhausted. He has a migraine. He doesn't know what he's doing. He's not yotzei mitzvahs matzah. Eat the matzah. Eat the matzah. Halacha, if they force him to eat matzah, is yotzei nechevasa. It's a separate sugya. What type of kavanah you need? If you need kavanah, mitzvahs einzriches kavanah, you don't need at least not a kavanah hafches. Dvarim shebalev einam dvarim in many issues of life. You give me a bike, you give me a gift. A father sometimes gives a son something. Vilnish, trust me. Vilnish, he's in therapy already 4 years that he shouldn't have to do it. Or how to do it. There's no lave, absolutely. He's angry, he's upset, he's furious. I'm not going to go more than that. But I can go more than that. Halachically, the father comes up, I want it back. It's a foul you gave. You gave. Halachically, there was a kinyan. You made it hefker. Tosfos says, you did a good hefker. You did a good hefker. What's belev shalom? I don't need belev shalom. That's why Tosfos doesn't bring that as a reason why you need b'dikas chametz. Tosfos says, I'm afraid one thing. Shema yavelachla. Of course, bittul is good. But if you tie in the bittul like the Ran, like Rashi, like Ramban, like other Rishonim, it's a whole different inyan. Bittul is not hefker. Bittul is, I'm not interested in the chametz. I don't need hefker. It's a personal experience. Loi Tosfos, bittul is a technische Sach. It's a legalistic thing. Like Rashi, bittul is an internal mindset. You want to use a lashon and Tanya. Like Tosfos, it's levushay hanefesh. Like Rashi, it's the midas hanefesh. Machshava dibur amaisa called levusha. What's haste? You put them on, you take them off. You put them on, you take them off. It's very easy to take off a jacket, put on a jacket. But can I ask you to change an emotion? So start liking this person. How do you start liking somebody? Maisa is a levush. I could do something that I'm not in the mood of. I could give tzedakah even though I'm stingy. But could you tell me, stop being stingy, be generous, be nice? How do you do that? It's inner surgery. It's not so simple. To take on a levush, put on a levush is simple. Machshava dibur amaisa are levushim. I could say good morning. I hate your guts. I'm not in the mood. I'm in a bad mood. I could say good morning. Why? I forced myself. I had some ruts. I could say, I could think even. I could do. I can't feel. You can't force me to feel. There's no such a mitzvah. And the more you force somebody to feel, the opposite they feel. V'haftas Hashem alekecha fras. Sure. V'haftas alekecha kamoicha fras. Kabbadas avicha v'esimecha. Whack, 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 whack. Trust me, there's no kabbadas avicha. You go the exact opposite. You can't force an emotion. You have to cultivate an emotion. You have to inspire an emotion. You need hisbodedus. You need avodah. The herst, like Tosfos, bittul is a technische Sach. You say it's hefker. I don't care if you were in the mood or not. I don't care. It's done. You sign a star. It's done. That's all the chiyuvim were. But leif shal, not believe shal. The only thing is that you should be normal. You're not a cheresh to the cotton, and you had das, and somebody didn't hold a gun to your head. It wasn't told you. It wasn't told you was of it. Then you could be ma'aseh meidah. Somebody held a gun to you. I'm not talking about that. But leif shalom means yes that you have to be masked. But if you tie in the bittul is a different inyan. Ein by tzarich klal. Let's say ein by tzarich klal. It has to be a serious thing, which is how we explained yesterday the concept of bittul and ruchnius also. You really disengage from it. Such a bittul you have to be scared of. Such a bittul, if it's not belev shalom, it's nothing. It's worthless. That's why the Balatanya said words don't matter. Shulchan Aruch Harav said, I don't care about your words. He says that Amayaritz who don't understand bittul, and they think it's a tchin or a bakasha, like Tillim. They close their eyes, they write a kvittel, they give stucca, they put on the gartel, they run around, they do a zgula before, they do a zgula after the bottle. People think, you see, they start shaking, called vas shakals to sich. You talk vas shakals to sich. He says in Shulchan Aruch Harav, they think it's a tchina and bakasha. A lot of people think it's a tefillas. They start davening. They start davening for shidduchim. Called chamira v'chamiyah. There's a yeah, just the wrong place. You don't have to look shidduchim by a fire where you're burning chametz, unless that's the plan. they say that Eisel Charif, the Slonim Erav, it was Erev Pesach in the morning. So his wife says, "No, it's geendigt. You did beard and everything. It's verbrennt." So he says, "Yeah, aber ich hab ein Stückel chametz in Stub." 40 years, I have these chametz in the house. Ich kann nicht potter werden. That chametz I can't get potter. So she told him, "Jene Stückel chametz darfst du steigen." 40 Jahre zurück hat mein Tate es verkauft zu einem Goy Gommel. My father sold this to a Goy 40 years ago. You don't have to worry about that. It's good. It's good. The Eisel Charif. The Eisel Charif. They called him Charif for a reason, but his wife was even a more Charif. Charifa, yeah. Such Shifcha Charufa. Okay?
Great relationship.
I'm just being malamet schus, the people who are asking for shidduchim by bia chametz. But the point is, it's always good to daven. And the truth is, after bia chametz, there's a yehiratzin. There's a yehiratzin after bia chametz because of the symbol. But we're talking alpinigla, bittul chametz is bittul chametz. It's not a tchid, it's not a bakasha. You have to know what you're doing. Now that's even according to Tosfos. If you say it's hefkin, you think you're being mispalel, it's not hefkin. You should have to know what you're doing. Kolsha came a kalvachaymer. It's an if it's an Indian of that you have to have a machshava, and that's why the Bartanura is geschmack. Bartanura holds you come later and you have a machshava not. How could you be mevatel the first one? Because the first one was all based on your thought process of how you experience chametz. If that's the case, then this boitkish l'ara by Rabbi Yimotze, even if you did bittul, because the bittul may not be belev shalom. So Ibazay Rashi means as follows. Tak, if you didn't do bittul minatayra, you do b'dikr by Yimotze. Yeah. You're telling me there's another path called bittul, and the Rabbanan even u'mechayev bittul. I'll still tell you if you do b'dikr by Yimotze, because the bittul may have been not belev shalom. Or the Bartanura says you may be mevatel the bittul. You may change the bittul machshava mevatelis machshava, and b'meila the only thing that's going to eliminate both of these problems is. So when the Ran gave us the new reason why bittul was not enough and they needed b'dikah, because leiv shalom, it gives a beautiful answer to Rashi why you always have to do b'dikah. Why? In case your bittul was missing something, in case you rediscover chametz or you discover chametz and you chayzim a bittul. And that would explain why Tosfos can't bring the other reason of the Ran. Tosfos is not afraid. Ain't they saying Shabbos? He's not going to mean it. He's a frumayid. He's going to be mafkin the chametz. What do you? He won't do it. I don't care if he has kavanas and yichudim and he learns kisvei arizal and then he's into it. The God's Torah mitzvahs you could say is not believed shalom by so many people. So what? The Dalit Kaisos are going to be believed shalom by some people. Yeah.
So why is the kol chamir in Aramaic if we have to understand?
You're right. Good. Because that's what you have to realize about Judaism. They wrote it in Aramaic for this reason. It would be like today writing it in Yiddish or in English.
So I should
that's the point. And trust me, there were those who were moicha against them. Because chametz in Aramish, a goyish sprach. A goyish they were moicha. But the Chachamim understood we need everybody to understand. That's why today we don't speak Aramaic. That's what he says in Shulchan Aruch Harav. Mishnah Berurah brings it. You have to understand. But now, finally, I want to make one more point. One last one. Afal Pikein, Tzratz them, Limrois everything we said. It's still not perfectly glad in Rashi. Why? One second, one more. Head. Not mamish. If I did bittul, I'm not going to be Rabbi Yimotze. You're right. If I didn't do it b'leiv shalom, or I regret it, then it's going to come out that I was over by Rabbi Yimotze. But it's very, very possible by a fine Jew that he doesn't be over on Bayirah Bayimatzi. He doesn't be Choyshev on Chametz Lechem. And I assume most of us in the room are that way, even if you see a piece of chametz. And it is believed shalom by many people, not by everybody, but it is believed shalom. So I understand that the Chazal were choishish for a Yid who won't do a serious bittul. He'll follow everybody, you know. You copy, kapara, zechalifosi, zetmunosi, zekabra. Everybody's doing bittul, you do bittul. But you don't get it. So zayin. But to tell me, boitkin as a chamesh like Rav by Rabbi Yimatzeh, that's why you buy the chametz. It could be if you didn't do bittul. It could be even if you did do bittul. But in many situations, that's not the case. The case is bittul made perfect. It made a perfect job, and you're not going to be able to buy Rabbi Yimatzeh. So yeah, you could taish. Boitkin as a chametz because you could come to buy Rabbi Yimatzeh. You could. Shalai laver Rabbi Rabbi Yimatzeh. Very, very often you don't need a b'dikah laver Rabbi Rabbi Yimatzeh. Sheba Yaveh La'achloi is always. It's always. If you only did bittul and no dikah and there's chametz, Sheba Yaveh La'achloi. This is talui. Palgin in the Bura, it's talui. Asata Dvarecha L'Shiurim. So I want to suggest, at last, one more nakuda. Another few minutes. And for this, I want to read with you one se'if, if you could distribute. Everybody one page. Let's give also for this. It's one page. This is Shulchan Aruch Harav Siman Tov Lamed Hey Seif Dalet, but with his beinunus. Does Rav Zayin Alev Shalom. I'm going to read the seif fast, and you'll see immediately the nakuda I want to bring out. Siv Dalet. Here's the problem. There's different things the Chachamim said, get rid of them, because they could bring to a takala. They could bring to a obstacle. An example we'll see in your Yedeya, in Zion, if somebody has chickens in the house, you have kaparis you do in the house, and the chicken died. Sometimes chickens die before the shchita, right? Sometimes people even do kaparis on dead ones, they don't realize. Or the chicken was damaged by an animal, a fox came and damaged it, etc. The bottom line is you're not allowed to eat it. So the halach is you shouldn't keep it in your house for obvious reasons. Somebody sees a chicken in the freezer, a chicken on the counter, they didn't have freezers, and you cook it and you're eating treif. You're eating the velas treifus, it wasn't shechted. So the din of Shulchan Aruch is you have to get rid of your house. You have to take it out of your house. There's no bracha. You don't make a bracha. No bracha, even though the Chachamim said to do it. What about b'dikas chametz? You also have to get chametz out of your house. There's a bracha. What's the bracha? Al bir chametz. Why not al b'dikas chametz? We all know, because the mitzvah is not the b'dika. The mitzvah is the b'dika and the bir. The b'dika is achana to the bir. The mitzvah is the bir. Fine. What happens if you didn't do b'dikas chametz the night before Pesach? What's the halacha? We'll see later in the Mishnah. You have to do b'dikas chametz in the morning, erev Pesach in the morning. What if you didn't do it in the morning? You have to do it in the afternoon. What if you didn't do it in the afternoon? Chalamayit Pesach comes, you come to the Rabbi, you say, I never did b'dikas chametz. He's going to tell you, go do b'dikas chametz now. A whole Pesach you have to do b'dikas chametz, even if you did bittul chametz. Why? The Chachamim said you have to do b'dikas chametz. The time they gave is the night before Pesach. But the mitzvah of b'dikas chametz is a whole Pesach. If you didn't, why did they say it? Whatever the reason, they said to do b'dikas chametz, even if you did bittul, you have to do b'dikas chametz a whole Pesach. A whole Pesach, even the last day of Pesach. If you didn't do b'dikas chametz, bir chametz, you have to search your house for chametz, even in the middle of Pesach. And if you find chametz, is halachas what you do with the chametz. You have to get rid of the chametz. If it's Yom Tov, there's one halacha chalamayit, another halacha, but you have to get rid of the chametz. What happens? What happens if Pesach passes, you never did b'dikas chametz? What's the halacha? Siv Dalet. It's a Mishnah in Daf Yud. Ovar kol haregel v'loy bodak, chayav livdoik la'achar haregel la'oiraneh. Quite an interesting mitzias. It's Lag BaOmer, Erev Shavuos, and you're walking around in your house, Isru Chag Pesach, with a candle. You're doing b'dikas chametz. Ganz interessant. Kedei levayer min ha'olam legamra d'ashes bar b'sim domen. Exactly the same reason, to get rid of it. Burn it, get rid of it. Kol chametz sheyimatzev b'dikasa. Really? After Pesach? It's a Mishnah. Pesachim Daf Yud. Do you boidik after Pesach? Shul asur b'hanah. Mishum sha'aver alav Pesach, mishis bar b'sim tov memches. The halach is chametz sha'aver alav Pesach, your chametz. That Pesach was within your reshus and it was your chametz, even though it's after Pesach, you're not allowed to eat or benefit from that chametz. You're not allowed to sell that chametz. That's the problem of going to stores that are owned by Jews, and they were there Pesach, and then you buy chametz after Pesach. If it belonged to a Jew, if it wasn't sold to a guy, chametz shavar alav Pesach, you're not allowed to have an offer. And if you're not going to do b'dikas chametz, a few days after Pesach, you're walking around. You're going to be a piece of chametz there, and you're going to eat it. It's after Pesach. Everybody eats chametz. It's a piece of pizza. You warm up the pizza and you eat it. Pita. The problem is, it's after Pesach. You're allowed to eat chametz, but not this chametz. Why? Because this chametz was in your house and you never did dik and beer. It's chametz, your chametz, shavar of Pesach. So the chachamim were mechayev dikas chametz after Pesach.
He didn't do bittul. He did what? Bittul. This wasn't his. After Pesach, not.
Good question. You're saying he did bittul? Same question. If he did bittul, do you have to do b'dika erev Pesach? Yeah. Why? Why? Shema Yavel Achlai. Let's do the reason. Shema Yavel Achlai. So here also Shema Yavel Achlai. No, really. If you did bittul before Pesach, you have to do b'dika. Yeah, why? Because you may eat it. Here also Shema Yavel. You may eat it. If there's pizza in my freezer and that pizza was there Pesach, right? But I'm not allowed to eat it.
Yeah.
I'm not allowed. You're asking why you're not allowed to eat it. You did bittul. Right. Because you didn't do b'dika. 1 second. Okay.
This chametz is not yours.
This chametz you're not allowed to eat.
Never was begin on Pesach. Even the other's house is not his.
That's the ganze Shabbat.
You're saying if there was bittul, it's not chametz trouble at Pesach.
Exactly.
If you sell it to a guy, everybody says you're allowed to. So if you do bittul, it's hefker, right? It's hefker. Huh? Why? If you did bittul, it's hefker. Noch besser, weil der Eberste macht es hefker. Noch besser, not less.
You don't know.
If you did bittul, real bittul, it's l'chayra not chametz trouble at Pesach, right?
Real bittul. Real bittul.
We're talking real bittul. It just didn't do b'dika.
No, the question is,
Can't rely on it.
No, if you eat it now, so that's not.
No.
What happens if you
To answer to this is, goyish chametz I have no problem with. You know I have no problem? I don't have a mitzvah of b'dika and beer on goyish chametz. You understand? I go into Costco, I don't have a problem eating the chametz shavuot of Pesach. It's his. Even if it's in my freezer, if it belongs to the guy, I'm good. But my chametz, which I did bittul on, I had a chiyuv to do b'dika and beer. I did not do b'dika and beer on that chametz. With the Rabbanan I had a chiyuv. That chametz I'm not allowed to eat. Because I'm not allowed to eat that chametz, because that chametz I did not fulfill my obligation, that's called chametz shavuot of Pesach, even though I didn't own it and I wasn't over by your rabbi Yimatzim in Atayra. So you have to do b'dika after Pesach. So you should have to do b'dika after Pesach. But 1 second, now look at this. Now, what if you do b'dikas chametz in the middle of Pesach, or erev Pesach in the morning, you make a bracha al bir chametz. Al b'dika shel acher haregel, after Pesach you do b'dika, lo yavarich klum. Don't make a bracha. Why? Ki eich yavarich v'tzivanu al bir chametz, v'arei yoechel chametz. What does it say? She'eshanu b'mitzvayis v'tzivanu, Hashem told me Isru Chag Pesach to destroy chametz. Really? You're sitting down right now to a meal of chametz. What's like? So he didn't tell you to destroy chametz today. You're going to ask me a question. He told me to destroy this chametz. This chametz. Because when the Derasha Rabbanim, but this chametz. Umashu mitzuva mechuyev levayer chametz zeh shavuot of Pesach. Don't touch al bir chametz, all the chametz. But this chametz he told me to be mevayer. The Rabbanim told me to be mevayer, but somebody told me. Al tosur, yeah, lahadik mechanuk. Wait. Einoi elu mishum chash takolish lo yavilach. only because we're afraid you're going to come to eat it, and you're going to have an obstacle. We learned yesterday, Shulchan Aruch Harav, the reason why you have to do B'dikas Chametz. First is Bittul shouldn't be believed, is maybe not be believed. The second reason, Shama Yavai Lachle, that's the classic reason of B'dikas Chametz. It says, because so Taisha's here, you don't make a bracha, I'll be your Chametz. You have to destroy this. The only reason is because you may eat it. Aval, Habir Hazeh Mitzad Atzmoi Ein Boi Mitzvah Klal. The Shulchan Aruch Harav is struggling. Why did all the Rishonim paskin not to make a bracha? The same Chachamim who said Dikas Chametz at night, before Pesach said Dikas Chametz in the morning, Erev Pesach said Dikas Chametz in the middle of Pesach, said Dikas Chametz after Pesach. The same Mishnah in Psachim, Daf Yud, same Mishnah. Came the Rishonim and said, this, yeah bracha, this, no bracha. Where did they get this from? What were they thinking? This is what's bothering, what anybody who learns the Sugya is bothering. The man of Shach. If you tell me it's not this man, in the middle of Pesach is also not this man. You still make a bracha. Because it's a mitzvah to do it. After Pesach is his Elba Mishnah. So he says, because it's only Shleyavi La'achlai, which only makes the question stronger. The beginning of Pesach is also Shem. Aval hadlis, aval abiyur azem mitzad atzmoi ein by mitzvah klal. The biyur mitzad atzmoi, getting rid of it, has no mitzvah even the Rabbanah. Sharei afim masha yisiv be'sev einim avaroi einei oiver al shehi yezu mitzad atzmoi ba'yirah ba'yamatzi afilim edivri sefer. Let's say you leave this chametz in your house a whole year, you don't touch it. You're not going to be over on ba'yirah ba'yamatzi, even rabbinically ba'yirah ba'yamatzi. I don't care if you have chametz in your house after Pesach. The only thing is you're an oiver on the chachamim who didn't want you should keep it because you may come to the obstacle of eating. If we wouldn't be afraid, let's say it's locked up in a safe and the key is thrown into the Hudson River and the safe is unbreachable and you're not going to be chayshish. I don't care if it stays in your house, lo'olam vod, in your rishus. So, theoretically, so to speak. Having the chametz in your house is not an isser. Don't say al bir chametz, because to make a bracha, the chiyuv has to be on what you're doing. Here, I don't care if the chametz is in your house. All I care about is that you shouldn't eat it. Because I care you shouldn't eat it, I'm telling you, an eitzah tova, get it rid of it so you shouldn't eat it. You get rid of the chickens that you're not allowed to keep in your house. You don't make a bracha. Why? I don't care if you keep tefah chickens in your house. There's no isur by your rabbi, you must have tefah chickens. All I'm afraid of is what? I'm afraid of you're going to eat it. So yeah, I'm not allowed to keep it in my house. I'm on Oived al Divrei Chachamim. But it's not that the Chachamim asered it, and when I get rid of it, I did a mitzvah. That's not the issue. The problem is eating it. The Chachamim said, just throw it out, not to give it. They don't care about throwing it out. They don't care about having it. They care about not eating it. But Mela, they said, throw it out. The throwing out is a hechsher, not to eat it. When somebody does beer in the middle of Pesach, then the beer is a mitzvah. Get rid of the chametz, the pasuk says. Even if you don't eat it. If you keep it there, why? Because the chametz is in your house, because it says tashbisu and it says bayirah bal yimatzeh. So when you do b'dikas and beer chametz, you're doing a mitzvah itself. What's the mitzvah? The mitzvah is to get rid of the chametz. And you say al beer chametz. What if you did bittul? If you did bittul, so there's no mitzvah of tashbisu. There's no isra bayirah bal yimatzeh. Yeah, there was bittul. The chal's good. There's no mitzvah levadim in our Torah. So the only reason we're doing b'dikas chametz is Shema Yavoi La'achloi, because it could be in the house. I'm just telling you, I'm afraid you're going to eat it. Oy bazoi, don't make a bracha. Oy bazoi, don't make a bracha in the middle of Pesach if you did bittul, or out of Pesach if you did it. So when we do b'dikas chametz, it's before we did the bittul. But if you're doing b'dikas chametz in the middle of Pesach after bittul, right? You shouldn't be making a bracha. Okay. When we make a bracha lahadlik ner Chanukah, why do we make a bracha? The Chachamim said, light Chanukah candles. Read the Megillah. Read the Megillah. There's a mitzvah al mikra Megillah. You make a bracha. Lahadlik ner shel Shabbos Kodesh. It's a mitzvah de Rabbanan. Netilas Yadayim is a mitzvah de Rabbanan. But saying Hallel, Hashem Yisrael says it's only kriyas Hallel. It's not. They want you to say Hallel so that b'meila something else. The mitzvah is saying Hallel. Hashem wants me to say Hallel. He wants me to light Chanukah again. It's not Hashem, it's the Sanhedrin. So the Gemara answers, the Torah says to listen to the Chachamim. It's like Hashem gave me the mitzvah. Fine. Al Bir Chametz means Hashem wants me to destroy Chametz. After Pesach, He doesn't want me to destroy Chametz. He wants me to destroy this Chametz. The Rabbanan said destroy. No. They don't care if I destroy it or not. They don't care. They don't care if I leave it in my house. MS, if I leave it in my house, I'm doing an Issur. But it's called Oived al Divrei Chachamim. It's not the issue, I'm not allowed to have this in the house. They told me don't have it because of one issue. And that is, you may come to eat it. That's what we care. The Issur is eating it. The Mela and Eitz HaTayva, we're making a buffer zone, get rid of it. But the Biyur is Nishka Mitzvah. So what are you going to say? That's a loy system of the Rabbana. You can't make a brach on that. You know, you see chazer? You don't make a brach on that. And here, what's the issue not to eat it with the Rabban? You don't make a brach on it. To make a brach on the beer, there's no mitzvah in the beer. There's no inyan in the beer. In the middle of Pesach, you do make a bracha. In the middle of Pesach, he says, there's an issue in the beer. Hashem wants you to get rid of the chametz. Frek the Balatanya, that's good if there was no bittul. But this halacha b'dik is even if there was bittul. If there was bittul, there's no tashbisu. There's no bayira bayimatze. The whole reason we're being baitik is Shema Yavelachli, so don't make a bracha for your chametz. The reason I get rid of chametz in the middle of Pesach is not bayira bayimatze, I did bittul. I shouldn't eat it l'chayra. So it's the same thing. God doesn't want me to get rid of the chametz. I don't care if it's in your house, it's hefker. I don't care if you have chametz, it's hefker. It's somebody else's chametz, it's not yours. It's hefker. There's no tashbisu, there's no bayira bayimatze. I'm afraid you're going to eat it, fine. But we make this chilek. Just this is Shulchan Aruch Harav, vintage, classic. A Hagdorah. Kivon shegazru chachamim she'ein bitul moyil klum mitaimim yeduyim. Since the chachamim made a gzeira that bitul is ineffective, it's worthless. Mitaimim yeduyim. And what he means, taimim yeduyim, is siman tov lamed daled. We learned two reasons. The Ran gives both reasons. Tosfos gives one reason. The first reason is that the bittul may not be belev shal. And the second reason is Shema Yavel Achloi. Harei Chametz Zeh Ki'ilu Loines Batel. So with the Rabbanon, it's as though this Chametz never went through bittul, because they said your bittul is ineffective. V'oiver olav b'bal yiro bal yimatzeh. So b'meila, you're over on this Chametz and bal yiro bal yimatzeh midivri sefer. Min ha'Torah you did bittul, but the Chachamim were geyser for everybody. There's no bittul. Why were they geyser? Two reasons. Number one, because some people taka won't do a good bittul, so they said nobody's bittul should work. Number two, even if you did do a good bittul, you're a person, you may come to eat it. So the pshat is, it's like this chametz was never bottled. Midrabanan. B'meila, I have chametz in my house on Pesach that was not bottled. Midrabanan. So I'm over by Yirah and by Yimatzeh. Midrabanan. V'gam yesh by mitzvahs tashbisu midivri sefer. And midrabanan, I have chametz in my house that's not bottled. So I have a mitzvah tashbisu. Ulekach mevarich v'tzivonu al bir chametz. That's why you have to make a bracha al bir chametz. Why do you make a bracha al bir chametz? Because the mitzvah is the biur itself. The mitzvah is the biur itself. Why is the mitzvah the biur itself? Because the Rebbeinu Shalom wants me to get rid of this chametz. It says tashbisu. It says bayira bayimatzeh. Is it true that min ha'Torah not? Yes, that's true. But medivrei seifrim, there's an issur bayira bayimatzeh. There's a mitzvah tashbisu. The mele I have to get rid of the chametz, so I have to make a bracha. You make up like every mitzvah medivrei seifrim. That's only in Pesach. The moment Pesach leaves, there's a bayira bayimatzeh. You're even having chametz in your house, ridiculous. Tashbisu. You have to like blowing shofar like bayimer. There's no tashbisu after Pesach. No tashbisu after Pesach. Yeah. Elamai, there's a knas. You're not allowed to eat chametz. Fine. So the Chachamim said, get rid of it. But I don't care if you keep it. I care if you keep it because I'm afraid that you're going to eat it. B'signa nacher. After Pesach, when I have chametz in my house, the problem is not the chametz in my house. The problem is, when does the problem start? If I eat it. If we knew somehow that this guy is never ever going to eat it, I don't care. The problem is not the chametz, the problem is eating of the chametz. On Pesach, when there's chametz in my house, even though I did bittul, the problem is not when I come to eat it. In other words, let's say we know for sure this guy is not going to eat it. That's not the issue. The issue is that the chachamim were oiker the bittul. In andere Werte, you're over on Bayiro, Bal Yimotzi min HaTorah. You're Mekayim Tashbisu min HaTorah. Midivrei Seifrim, sorry. Midivrei Seifrim. B'meili, you make a bracha of your chametz. This is his Hagdara. Why all the poskim say no bracha after Pesach? Oy bazoi. Oy bazoi. Das is Rashi. This is what Rashi says. This is Mamish Rashi. You don't have to say Rashi is talking about one maslul and Rashi is talking about maybe, if. Every situation. Boitkin. You buy the chametz. Kadei shaloi laver over by your rabbi yimotze. Rashi is not like other people thought, giving a chash. You may be over on by your rabbi yimotze because the bittul wasn't believed shalom. Or because you have charata from the bittul, or you're going to say that if he doesn't do b'dikah or beer, he's over by Yerah Yimotzi. There's a chash he's going to be over by Yerah Yimotzi if certain things happen. No, that's the hagdara of b'dikah. The definition. It's not the reason. It's the definition. The reason for b'dikah is shema yavel achla. The reason for b'dikah is because they knew some people may not be Mavatal B'Lev Shalom, but I was Mavatal B'Lev Shalom. I did a good bittul. I did. So you could say, Eino Chanami, but they were Choishish, and therefore they did a b'dikah. Says the Alter Rebbe, no, not they were Choishish and they did a b'dikah. The Chash is the reason. But what's the Geder? The Geder is that you're over on Bayiro and Bayimotzi without b'dikah. The Geder is that bittul doesn't work. They weren't Misakin. That bittul works in Torah. We're saying do b'dikah in order to prevent another chash. No, because they were afraid that the bittul is not b'leiv shalom, so they will oiker din bittul medivrei sefer. And b'meila, if there's no din bittul, ain what's his lashon? Ain a bittul moil klub medivrei sefer. It's not a bittul. Why is it not a bittul? Because they knew that by some Jews it's taken not a bittul. So they can't say, oh, for this guy it's not bittul, for everybody else is bittul. We don't do that type of discrimination from Chazal. This guy is a this, we know him, he loves his mashke, he's a this. They don't do that. They said, Ein ha bittul moil klum. There's no bittul. If there was no bittul, so now you have Pesach. What do you have? Tashbisu, Bayirah, Bal Yimotze. So leave chametz and shtum. Get rid of it. That's b'dikah and beer. Ein a chanami, it's not min HaTorah. It's not min HaTorah, it's only because min HaTorah, if you did bittul b'leiv shalom, it's a good bittul. If you didn't do it, it's not. But if you did it, if I'm a yid, I know I did it b'leiv shalom, it's a good to bittul. But the Rabbanu will still tell me, the Chachwi said that the bittul is not moil klum. There's also another reason, shema yavel achloi. But that's the reason that triggered them. What's the Hagdara? The Hagdara is to eliminate Bayirah, Bayimotze, Medivrei Soifrim. Boitkinas HaChametz L'Lavra Bayirah, Bayimotze. Now, of course, it doesn't exclude also the other Mahalach. Boitkinas L'Lavra Bayirah, Bayimotze. If you didn't do Bittul, you're going to be Evra Bayirah, Bayimotze, Min HaTorah. If you did Bittul, not B'leiv Shalom, you're going to be Evra Bayirah, Bayimotze. If you did bittul and later you have charata from the bittul like the bartanura, you're going to be over by your rabbi. But that's all options. We're saying much more than that. Every b'dikas chametz, the best bittul in the world, the most perfect bittul in the world. There's not going to be charata. There's going to be leiv shalom. If you're not going to do b'dikas chametz, you're going to be over on bal yiro, bal yimotze, not min HaTorah, medivrei soifrim. And that's why you say, al bir chametz, the mitzvah is on the bir itself, even though you did bittul. Midivrei soifrim, of course, we're talking about. But it's a mitzvah, not to eat chametz. Then you wouldn't make a bracha like you don't make a bracha on getting rid of chickens. You don't make a bracha after Pesach, because then all you're left with is Shema Yaveh La'achla. So therefore, he never touches. Shema Yaveh La'achla means you may come to eat it. Then the Rebbe says you wouldn't make a bracha on B'dikas Chametz. The only reason we make a bracha on B'dikas Chametz is because the beer itself is a mitzvah. Why is it a mitzvah? Because you're over on Bayiro, Bayin Motzim in Divrei Seifrim, and you have a Chiyuv Tashbisum in Divrei Seifrim. Oy Bazoi, not only is Tosfos not contradicting Rashi, the whole Rashi encompasses the whole Tosfos. Because Rashi knows Shema Yavalach. But Rashi says, mein Tayere eine Kori, Rabbeinu Yitzchak, bist da feine, bist da gon oilam, but let me ask you, why do we make a bracha? Why do we make a bracha? On chickens we don't make a bracha. Why do we make a bracha? Let me give you the Hagdara of Dikas Chametz. The reason may be Shema Yavalach. I'm not arguing with you. So Zayin Yavalach. The Hagdara of Dikas Chametz, the definition is, they wanted to save you from Bal Yiro, Bal Yimotzim, Divrei Seifrim, because they were misaken that Bittul is not Mal Klum.
In every which way. Every which way.
Huh? There's a Tosfos Niktzach.
Could be that why Rashi had decided also.
Rashi wanted to cover us from every which way. Every which way.
So tomorrow is no shir. Class resumes on
Monday morning. So even if you do Bittul, you have to get rid of the Chametz. Understand? Even Chametz after Pesach, you did Bittul. Even that Chametz, you're not allowed to eat because you didn't do B'dika and B'dika. That's Chametz that went through Pesach. That Chametz you're allergic to. Chametz Shavuot Pesach is toxic. So if you do Bittul, Chametz Shavuot Pesach is called toxic in Halacha. It's like it's been through Pesach. The blessed belonged to a guy. It has radiation of Pesach. Not good. Yeah? Poison, so to speak. But here, so if it's Goyish Chametz, it's fine. A guy's allowed to have Chametz, it's not toxic. A guy's allowed to have Chametz, a guy's allowed to eat today, a guy's allowed to eat everything. It's fine, he's good. Besides what he's not allowed to eat, even in a Chai, etc. For him, it's not toxic. For me, it's toxic. My Goyish Chametz in my house that we sell, I can eat after Pesach. We all do it all the time. You sell Chametz, right? My Chametz is toxic. That's if it was toxic Chametz. If I did Bittul L'Chayra, it wasn't toxic, it was hefker. But since the Chachamim said you have to do B'dika and beer, which I didn't do, so this Chametz is over all Pesach. It's toxic Chametz. There was no beer here. And the way he explains more, it was by Yerah, by Yematzeh Chametz. It was Tashbisu Chametz, but Divrei Seifrim. So this Chametz, I'm not letting it eat anymore. But when I destroy it, I have to destroy it. But I don't have to make a bracha. Because now the problem is not by Yerah. Now I should the Shabbat Mitzvah means today, not yesterday. Today the mitzvah is beer. Today there's no mitzvah of beer. Today the issue is eating. Yesterday, Pesach, the mitzvah was beer. Because there's Bayirah by Matzah. Today it's not an issue by Matzah, it's after Pesach. You're allowed to have chametz in your house, even toxic chametz. You're allowed to have chametz in your house. You're not allowed to eat it. Because you're not allowed to eat it, they have to get rid of it. So they can't make a bracha on it. Because the bracha you have to make on the thing itself. You don't make a bracha, I'm not eating chazer. Right? You don't make such a bracha.
Let's does different. Okay, so he hasn't had a full comment. So Pesach goes fine. He's like, not going after Pesach. What happened?
Is there chametz in the house?
He said before,
and he didn't do
Didn't give
b'dika.
it software.
yeah. So if we say,
So he has to do b'dika. No, you're not there.
If we said originally,
In a Torah. Oh, but a Torah you go. But a Torah you go. You can eat the chametz.
How did when? At what point did he undo the bit?
You don't have to. You will kind of from Hefker. Hashem took it away from you for 7 days. You're masking with Tzai Pesach. We're talking about Torah. Even Al Pi Tosfos, you kind of from the house.
If you did if you did B'dika and you didn't find it, then after Pesach, you can eat.
Yeah. So B'dika is an indication that Bittul was a real Bittul. That's one reason. In other words, we can't.
If you say Bittul is not going to be believed, Shalom, we're afraid. So B'dika is not yet. We do B'dika because once you don't have chametz,
yes. So
and also for the Bartanura says you may have charata from the Bittul. If you did biur, you can have charata.
you start. Yeah.
It's burnt. We have charata, right?
Yeah, but
we explained here. The Shulchan Aruch Rav says that the word the pshat is that if you don't do b'dika and biyur, it's not pshat, it's a chashash. The pshat is the bittul didn't help. Mele, every person who did bittul without b'dika and biyur is over on bayir. I'm not saying all things.
Another question is if somebody did b'dika and bittul, why should we do it? The finest thing is why should we do it?
You can make sense.
Because you don't make if you didn't do b'dika, you make you don't make we're talking about Yid who didn't do b'dika chametz in the middle of Pesach or Erev Pesach. In the middle of Pesach, he has to do b'dika and make a he did b'dika, then you don't
And let's see that about the
if I sell your house and I sign the deed, there's nothing I can do. I can say, well, if Shalom I was in a bad mood, I needed parnosa. Fine, I'm sorry. But this is not legal. Bittul is not legal. Bittul is, no. Bittul is not legal. Bittul is a belay. That's the word. I signed the deed. Unless you held a gun to me. No, it doesn't mean bad mood. Doesn't mean bad mood. Doesn't mean bad mood. It means that's the word. That's why he says the Chachamim wanted b'dikas chametz, because they knew people could change. That's the word. Minat Torah, we look at everybody in a very idealistic way. But the Rabbanon say practice. Yeah, people.
I missed something. I'm in the middle of. You're going to find something. He's behind me that you're because you didn't make a good b'dika.
No,
I did do it.
No,
I find something.
No, we said that if you did b'dika and bittul, and you're not chayav on anything.
Even if you got to need it because that's the bittul you still need to
bittul works.
Bittul doesn't because he's finding it. The bittul is not anymore.
What's the minyan? What's the minyan?
Wenn ihr rennt, so der Bruch. Aber never. Who's that big long salos?
And the letters was?
Wenn ich bin schon hoch aufstammen. Ja, lese,
This class is brought to you by theyeshiva.net. Please help us continue the classes. Make even a small contribution at www.theyeshiva.net/donate.